Hey guys, welcome back. I know it's been a while. I've been so busy trying to keep everything going. I got too many irons in the fire and iron spilling out of the fire, and I thought, you know what, I can make a very quick video on this new invention that I just released. This is the portable paint shaker mount, because these things are really hard to keep from shaking everything else loose. You have to basically bolt it down to concrete to keep this thing from moving when it's shaking up your paint. And I thought, oh, you know, I'll just bolt it to a bench. I got a 400-pound welding bench in the shop, bolted that thing to it, and it moved that whole welding bench just slowly. With vibration, it could move that whole thing. And I move stuff all the time because I'm always buying new tools and selling old stuff and rearranging, and I hate the idea of actually drilling holes in my concrete floor, because that's permanent, and never being able to move it, or having to look at studs in the floor after I decide to move it. So thinking of ways to make a temporary mount, I'm looking around thinking, what is solid and rigid enough to bolt this thing to? And I was thinking the columns for my shop, but once I started looking at that, I really don't want to be putting all that vibration through my shop, through my building, through the structure of my building. If it's strong enough to move a 400-pound welding table in 10 minutes, what kind of damage is it gonna do to my shop over years worth of use? So looking around, and I'm thinking, hey, you know, a truck has a suspension. I'm thinking about vibrations and like the 4BT, you know, they call that thing the paint shaker. And I'm thinking, man, I need to just mount this to a truck. And how can I do that quick and easy? And then it hit me through my hitch. So the first thing I did was I welded up, I cut a plate out on the plasma table, and hand sawed and drilled a tube and stuck that in, stuck the pin through, and I had a pin that wasn't perfectly round, and if I would rotate it to lock it tight, it did okay. But otherwise that pin would sit there and it'd rattle all crazy just inside the receiver. So what I did was I drilled and tapped a tube for a 5/8 bolt. Now this guy is actually drilled and tapped on both sides. That way if you ever booger up the threads on one side, you got a backup. But all we're trying to do here is actually clamp this against the receiver so that the vibrations go through the truck suspension. So now the vibrations from the paint shaker are going to go first into the leaf spring bushings, and then they're going to go down into the tires. So the truck's going to absorb all the energy. You're not even going to feel anything on the ground. So installation's super simple. This thing's got a plastic base, but it actually has metal sleeves that go through the 3 mounting holes, which means we can put some bolts in here, clamp those bolts down nice and tight so that our hardware is not coming loose. So this is the Astro Pneumatic brand. This seems like the most popular brand of paint shaker. I've seen it on a couple TV shows on Motor Trend or Discovery or whatever. I've seen it on Graveyard Cars, Iron Resurrection. And from what I could tell in my research is it's got to be a universal mounting pattern, because everybody and their dog sells a universal paint shaker mount stand that you bolt to your concrete floor. So I would imagine if you have a different brand it should work. But you can go ahead and just take the supplied hardware, crank this puppy down. Like I said, there's metal sleeves inside there, so you can't over tighten it. And in fact, you want it to be tight. You want it to be good and tight, because we want the vibration to go all the way from the shaker to our leaf spring bushings and our tires. And in case you haven't seen my handy little air tool condoms. Just get those to put over the male ends of your air tools. It keeps the dirt out when you're not using them. So we'll go ahead and we'll slide this into our receiver. Tailgate up. So just take our 5/8 bolt, and we're not going to go crazy on this guy because we only have a 1/4 inch wall worth of threads in the tube. But all this is going to do is clamp this tube over against our receiver so it's basically one piece. Makes this one with the truck. So now that's solid. Now you can take your can of paint, and you'll find uses for this because this is so convenient. I've used this to shake spray paint cans, other aerosol cans that just don't have quite enough propellant left in them. You just hook this up to shop air and away she goes. Notice how you can't even see the truck moving. Now, if you have a smaller car, it might shake the car a little bit more. But in terms of having a nice solid base to shake your paint, if you want to let this mix for 10 or 15 minutes, you're not going to have any problems. So if you're looking for a super simple solution, it's not permanent whatsoever, check this thing out. It's on my website. I weld these up, throw the hardware in the box, and ship it out to you. And you can use this at your house. You can take it over to your shop and use it at work, take it to a friend's house, let your friend borrow it. It's a great portable solution. If you're like me and you only paint something maybe once a year, maybe once every 3 years, maybe, you know, once every couple months, this is a great tool that will allow you to shake your paint, which you need to do. I don't care if we're talking automotive paint, home paint, interior, exterior. This is going to make sure that you got it properly mixed and you don't have to spend there with a stirring stick for 10 minutes. Now, I know it's been a while since I've cranked some videos out and talked to you guys, so if you haven't been over to the website, I got tons of super sweet merch available. Probably the coolest thing right now is the new magnetic koozies. These things are pretty strong. You can see it was holding this full can of Manwich on the tailgate, even when that's vibrating. You got hats, you got shirts, you got sweatshirts, you got coasters, we got keychains, we got magnetic koozies, all sorts of stickers. So head on over to the website. That really helps support the YouTube channel and coming up with crazy inventions like these, trying to just help the everyday average Joe out with your projects. So thanks again for tuning in, and hopefully we'll see you again here shortly for another video.